Howdy, folks, and welcome to Moose Podcast 211. I trust this finds you and yours safe and doing well, enjoying what's left of our daylight savings time. Clocks, go forward, wherever this fall forward and on the first here. So we're going to hopefully be able to get up earlier and see more light. But of course, then it's getting dark at night, and it means being home in the dark longer. That's all right. Halloween's there to make it all better. Hey, I want to thank you folks for listening to the Moose Podcast and tuning us in. Appreciate all you guys are doing, especially a lot of you who are really helping promote it. Very grateful to that and to everybody's questions that keep coming in. Also want to thank my good friends at Bedford Camera. That's bedfords.com. Another great story from them this past week, literally in the middle of nowhere, out in Utah, nowhere, Utah, as in no internet, no Utah, middle of nowhere, Utah. Had a friend who needed a lens, contacted Bedford, called them on Monday, and somehow, it still boggles my mind, by Tuesday afternoon, that lens had found him. Brand new 24 to 200Z lens. So Bedford's keeps coming through for us. So check them out via the web or on the phone. Make sure you give them that Moose discount code, which is MOOSE. You'll save yourself some real money, as well as probably sales tax and free shipping for your basic kind of ground shipping. So thank you, Bedfords, for sponsoring the Moose Podcast. Let's get right into it. 2 questions. Cold and Z. Well, it's that time of year. Things are getting a little cooler. If you're at the northern edge of the country, northern west part, Washington, Montana, Dakotas, going down into even parts of Utah, winter came with a big clash and boom this past week. -2 here at the ranch. That's cold. I admit it. I put on a shirt for that. It's cold. How do we as photographers work in the cold? So that was Beth's question. She was heading out into Yellowstone, which has already got quite a bit of snow. Pretty cold. She wanted to know, what should she do? Well, there's a couple things to think about. 1 is you. 2 is the camera gear. Now, this is just what I do and what I suggest. Might not meet every manufacturer's recommendation, but this is just what I do personally. So when it comes to us as photographers, photography is only going to happen when we're having fun and comfortable. If you're cold and shivering, that pretty much trumps any kind of, having fun and being comfortable. So what do you have to do to stay warm? Well, you've got to figure out for your own personal being what's required. And when you look at those temperatures for where you're going, always, always, always look at the wind forecasts. And if you're not familiar with it, there's plenty of charts out there. Just Google wind chill and just watch how that temperature just heads for the basement when the wind comes up. And it's that wind that will put the chill in your bones. So always check the wind chill for the place you're going to go so you're dressed accordingly. Things that I think that are really important are 1, your feet, 2, your hands, 3, your head, 4, the rest of your body. It's kind of how I think about it. Now, I've gone into these incredibly high-tech Merrell shoes in the last few years. Worn them down. The coldest I've had them is -16. And the thing about these shoes is a lot of people look at, the number of grams they have in them, kind of like the number of pixels in a camera, and more grams of weight in a boot should, translate into keeping your feet warmer. These new boots that I've been using from Merrell for the last couple of years, they're only 200 grams. So most people go, oh, that's too thin. I'm here to tell you, they work great. I know this delightful old lady. She doesn't like being cold, but she is a little bit, You could carbon date her. Sweet as could be, and she's wearing these murals on her feet, and they're keeping her warm as well. Because as you get older, your blood circulation does, play a part in staying warm. But they do that amazing job. The best thing is these murals, they're like a regular shoe. They're not like the big giant Ice Kings I used to wear. These are just, they're literally just a zip-on boot. They work amazing. You can pair a pair of socks on them. Good to go. So footwear, important. 1, keep your feet warm. 2, keep you from slipping on the ice. Going down your tuchus, not only is it embarrassing, you do take the risk of hurting yourself, but more importantly, your camera gear. Because keep in mind, that's what our focus is on here, okay? We sacrifice ourselves to keep the cameras from getting hurt. Good sound logic. Next are gloves. Haven't put out my annual glove review for this year, but you can search the website for last year. And there are a number of level of gloves. Now, this level of glove thing, my friend started years ago, and I thought it was just a good idea. And they go level 1, level 2, level 3. And the idea being level 1 is your basic windbreaker, which is a glove I wear a lot all year long. And this time of year, maybe wear them when there's absolutely no wind. Then they get more and more thickness and more bulk, till finally I wear my favorite trapper mittens, which are made out of beaver. Now, here's the thing with gloves and your digits. It's back to that blood and circulation. We're all a little bit different there. And, if you could, it'd be great if you went to a store and you had put a pair of gloves on and they had a freezer. You could put your hands in that freezer and move your hands around for a while to figure out if it's going to keep your fingers warm, 1. 2, have the dexterity to work your camera. Now, back in the day, it's been a number of years, I would actually go into a store with my camera to sit there and see if I could operate it. But now I've got to the point where I can kind of figure it out. But you need to have gloves that are allowing you to operate and stay warm. Now, one thing about these gloves most people don't realize is that if you have them with you, let's say you have them in the vehicle, you have them in your camera bag, and then you need to use them, you have to use your own personal energy to 1, warm up those gloves, that 2, keep you warm. That's why I always have a pair of gloves tucked inside my jacket. And I have big pockets. I always buy jackets with big inside pockets that can hold not just gloves, but hold lenses and bodies. In fact, my puff jacket, the pocket's so big it'll hold a Z with a 24 to 72.A on it. And they're big, deep jacket pockets. Well, I always have my pair of gloves in there. So they're already, you could say, pre-warmed. So then when I put them on my hand, I'm not using my own personal energy to warm up those gloves from my hands, which, of course, zaps any warmth from your hand for a while. They're instantly warm. Get your hands warm. Lastly is your head wear. That's really important. And then when it comes to the rest of your body, layers. Now, right now, I'm personally really liking the fleece line pants that come from Duluth. And then, well, the rest of me, you can't really go by me because I don't get cold as easy as some folks. But I usually have a t-shirt, and then I'll have a vest, and then I have a jacket. That's my typical. So that's yourself. Now, it comes to your camera gear, a couple things. 1, you got to remember that when it's really cold, there's 2 things that can, come up and get you. 1 is static electricity, and 2 is condensation. Now, back in the day, and I'm talking a long time ago, I remember with my F2 going up to do a project, and I thought it was going to be so cold, like it is here at the ranch, that it sent the camera into Nikon, and they replaced the conventional lubes in there for another kind of lube that would permit the camera to operate in cold temperatures and not freeze up. Thank goodness we don't have to do any of that kind of stuff anymore. That's long, long, long ago, back when I was shooting steam-powered cameras. Nowadays, don't have to do any of those things when it comes to prepping for cold. You just got to remember those 2 things, static electricity and condensation. Now, condensation happens often when you bring your cold gear in to a warm room and that room has got any kind of moisture in the air, like you just got out of the shower, it can collect on your gear. So then when you go back out, it fogs up. My personal recommendation is that when I come in from the cold, I bring my gear and I take it out of the bag. I put it on a bed. I put a white towel over it. So any condensation is going to form on the towel, not on my gear. Once my gear gets to be room temperature, then I'll take care of it and clean it, do what I need to do for the next day. Then I'll put it back in the camera bag and I'll stick it the furthest corner of the room so it doesn't get warmed up again. Then when I go out, I'm very careful not to breathe on it because that's another form of condensation. Then you got that thing called static electricity, which I've seen it manifest in all sorts of different ways. Our cameras, they're ungrounded, so they're not grounded at all, computers. There's this battery going in there, and this static electricity can happen, especially in cold temperatures, because the air is so dry. We think of it as being cold. It's also so dry. I've seen it shut down many cameras. Happened just again this past week. So what do? Well, you got to sit there and take that battery out of the camera. Then I turn the camera on. I hit the shutter release to bleed off any electricity that's in there. Then I blow on the contacts that are on the end of the battery. That slight little bit of moisture tends to kill any static charge. I put it back in the camera, and knock on wood, that simple fix has worked every time. So if all of a sudden your camera stops working, you get this last case, he was reviewing images on his LCD, it started to flicker. It's a sign that there's something with electrical and there's usually a static issue. So those are the basics. The last thing is, Beth asked about batteries and cold temperatures. So make sure I answer all of Beth's questions. I have, in the last, I don't know how many years, 5-7 years, I have never experienced the cold zapping the batteries of my cameras. I don't keep an extra set in my pocket, those things we used to do in the old days. They've worked normally. Now, the little mirrorless cameras, the Zs, some of even the D750, that battery's in that little chamber by the handle. If you keep the camera on a tripod for a long time, I would see it possible that it could zap some of its power. I've not experienced it, so I don't have a firsthand knowledge of it happening, though. So I don't carry a bunch of batteries in my pockets to stay warm. I just have my usual number. So I hope that answers some of your questions about operating in the cold. Remember, there's a whole bunch of that stuff on the website. And whatever you do, please don't look at how I dress and mimic me. I'm really weird. I keep admitting this. And one of the things that's weird about me is I just don't get cold. So on to the Z. Had a lot of questions about the Z, especially after the little thing I did for Grays on their Z Open House podcast that was posted on the website. Main thing is, yes, the Z6 II, I have got it ordered. I would like to have one. What problems do I see it solving? The main one is we've got a camera, a itty-bitty little camera, especially when you compare it in size to the D6, that has almost the same speeds as the D6. It does for frames per second, not quite the same for buffer, and it produces a gorgeous file. Now, some of the other aspects of the camera, this is the same as, Photoshop or my Mac. They're there. They're just not ones that I need. The ones that I need, the Z6 II has. And I love the Z6. I'm not getting rid of the Z6. It's a gorgeous camera, and the files produced by it are just spectacular. Now, the compound question were the two lenses, the new 14 to 24 2.8 and the 70-200 2.8. Well, the 14 to 24 2.8, gorgeous lens. Would love to have it. I have no economic incentive. In other words, I don't have a client or a project where I need that kind of 2.8 depth of focus sit there and buy that when I have the 14 to 30, which is a really marvelous job. The 70 to 200 2.8, again, just another incredibly gorgeous lens. Great optics. It focuses down to 0.5, where the current f mount is 1.1. So it focuses really close, which gives you a whole lot of flexibility. You can put the Z1.4 on there. So yeah, that lens probably is going to end up in the kit in this next week or so. So just to kind of round out some of those questions coming in on that, again, keep checking the website. I'll have more information. I want to thank you guys for sending those questions. Keep doing it. The more questions I get, the more episodes I'll do answering them. And remember to go out this week and make every click your story.